Hey everyone, welcome to welcome to a special bonus edition of Locked On Lakers. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers pick up a huge win in San Francisco, 109-103 over the Warriors. No LeBron James, but all the new guys, save Mo Bamba, make their debut, and it looked good. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how or where you get your podcasts. It's always free. It's never going to be behind a paywall. And Locked On Lakers on YouTube, over 11,000 subscribers strong, is where you go to hang out with other Lakers fans, engage with them, engage with us, and particularly a fun place to be after the Lakers win in San Francisco, a win they needed to have, 109-103. They crawl back to within 5 games under 500. This one was big, Andy, obviously because no LeBron James in this one. The foot/ankle thing keeps him out of this one. It is likely to keep him out of Monday's game in Portland as well. The Lakers have made that pretty clear already. The hope is maybe he plays in the last game before the break Wednesday against the Pelicans. But no AD, but you did get the new guys. D'Angelo Russell was in the lineup, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, not Mo Bamba. He is still suspended, but those 3 guys were in the lineup, and you could tell it really made a difference on a night with LeBron out to have 3 legit rotation dudes available to you.
Yeah, just the idea of closing out a tight game on the road against a very good home team. I know they don't have Steph Curry, but the Lakers don't have LeBron, and it's still advantage Golden State in that situation. When you take into account the Lakers' bad history in the clutch, to actually be able to protect the lead that they did, and not in a way that made you completely nervous. And, this was as confident as I was watching the Lakers in a tight game down the stretch in quite a while, which is pretty crazy considering these guys, were learning how to play with each other when it came to certain guys down the stretch. It was an impressive showing for these guys. We'll get into the new guys, but also take into account Anthony Davis struggled from the field big time in this game. He had some huge defensive moments down the stretch, but it's not like the way you might picture this, where new guys coming in, figuring each other out. Anthony Davis, superstar, is the one that carries them to a win. They had to figure out a way to win this thing with Anthony Davis struggling from the field.
And struggling from the field and quite frankly, struggling defensively for much of the game. And I thought it was kind of funny, like as the game went on, his intensity, particularly in the fourth quarter, really picked up, in part because I think he was frustrated with his offensive game, but also he wasn't getting any calls that he thought he should be getting. And I think he was getting so angry that it lifted his energy level, but also, he turned that frustration, around to the end. I mentioned the rim protection. The defense really wasn't particularly impressive through much of the game, but he had 2 huge blocks down the stretch, and something kind of flipped on with AD with 8 or 9 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, and it was the second game in a row that offensively Dennis Schröder was the one leading the Lakers. He's 7 of 12 from the field for 26 points, 3 or 4 from behind the arc. Hit back-to-back threes in a really big sequence. 11 free throws, made 9 of them. But then you had D'Angelo Russell chipping in 15, Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who is destined to become a fan favorite. 12 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, including some open court play that I got to be honest, I did not expect from.
Yeah, he was like grabbing the ball off the rim and like taking it up the floor in ways that I was not there. And then they had that spin move in the lane. He kind of tried it twice, and the second time got into a little bit of trouble. But that first one, it was like, okay, Jared Vanderbilt, I see you. I didn't know you had that in the bag.
And his defensive activity was incredible. I mean, there were multiple sequences where he would have multiple challenges on a single possession. I mean, he was just phenomenal all over the court. Again, he is going to be somebody that Laker fans are absolutely going to love. And Malik Beasley only had 4 points, 2 of 9 from the field, but took 6 threes. And the threat of him taking these threes when you know he is not afraid to do it and you know that he can make them, there's a difference out there. Even when the shots aren't going down, it changes the dynamic of this offense in a way that's been desperately needed.
And yeah, I mean, they looked, I think, frequently like a team that was playing with, 3 brand new guys in the rotation, and then a fourth in Hachimura, who also had a nice game, 16 points, 6 of 11 from the floor, 7 rebounds, an assist. There were times when they looked like they weren't quite, together, which makes some sense. But I was impressed, especially defensively. They finished with Schröder, Russell, and Reeves in the backcourt, which makes a lot of sense against the Warriors, who are very Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole dependent. They run guys off a billion screens all over the floor, particularly on the baseline.
Yeah, Dante DiVincenzo was out there down the stretch for the Warriors as well, so another guard,
another one of those guys. And so you need the mobility, you need the switchability, and guys who are sort of, I was impressed with Russell, who is not a particularly good defender,
but he was active.
He was active. He got his hands on a lot of balls. And look, new there, you're never going to be, it's like Lonnie Walker at the beginning of the season. Like, you're never going to be more dialed in than you are like right at the beginning, when you're hyper aware of what, kind of the reputation is, the situation you're in. Like, you're going to put everything into it. But he was active, and hopefully that stays in that way. You had to like what Schröder was doing, and Reeves drawing offensive fouls, and Klay Thompson missed some shots he often makes. Jordan Poole, aside from a really hot third quarter, or was it the fourth quarter?
Fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter where he came out and
1 point in the fourth quarter, he had 17 points. They were all 17 Golden State had in the fourth quarter.
So, and that's actually kind of okay. I mean, the Warriors finished with 24, but Poole was 11 of 25. Klay was 5 of 21. Even if you want to say, they missed some shots they normally make, the Lakers harassed them. They made life hard. They drew some offensive fouls, and they looked surprisingly coherent. When you're considering putting in some of those new guys, it does help that one of them is Jared Vanderbilt, who really is a defensively oriented player. But he also showed, like you said, the ability to finish around the rim, to be active offensively, moving, getting up and down the floor. You pointed this out on Twitter. There's a ton of stuff we're going to get into for Monday's show. Rob Pelinka talked about these acquisitions and what they kind of mean going forward. We'll spend some time on that. We'll more in depth about what these guys look like and all that other stuff as we get ready for Monday night's game. But you pointed this out, like, there really is a noticeable difference in kind of the pace of what things look like when you get 30 minutes of D'Angelo Russell versus 30 minutes of Westbrook. And one of my only concerns with trading Russ is he has been a catalyst for this year for getting this team to play quickly, which is something that benefited them often. You don't get quite the same deal with D'Angelo.
Well, and I want to make it clear, I was pointing this out on Twitter not as a criticism of D'Angelo Russell or what things looked like with D'Lo. I was just pointing out the difference because, I mean, we covered D'Angelo and we were around him a lot during his first stint with the Lakers, and he is not somebody that looks to push pace like as a first instinct. He is
he literally just doesn't move as fast as Westbrook when he does.
He's always been much more of a prober, somebody who's shifty. He's really good at getting defenders on his hip and then losing them. Like, it's ironic that Mike Conley ended up going to Minnesota essentially as his replacement, because in certain respects, D'Angelo Russell is like Mike Conley, another guy who's always been really good at probing into tight quarters, getting to the spot that he wants. He's much more measured than Russell Westbrook. Like, as I pointed out on Twitter at Cam Brothers, when the Lakers do run, because he's going to be out there with LeBron, who will push pace, he's going to be out there. I think this is something we can talk about on Monday's show. I think he's going to continue to be starting with Dennis Schröder, and Schroeder's someone that often looks to push pace. On the break, I picture D'Angelo Russell much more often as the trailer for three than the guy operating the break. And look, the way D'Angelo has been shooting this season, that ain't a bad thing. And in particular, he's been good above the break for threes. And that's really useful when you have everybody flying out to the corners and LeBron picking his spots. He'll be able to find D'Angelo wide open if he's there at the top of the circle, but it's just a different thing. Like he's just more measured. He's a more measured player than Russ. And
I think that gets to what I was going to say. It's like it's the contrast in the half court. Okay, he's not going to push the ball up the floor as much as Russ, but like Russ in the half court was an adventure, to say the very least. One that required a ton of ice. Like D'Angelo is a much more workable player in half court situations, much more cohesive, gonna spread the floor. It just, you could see the difference in how they operated. And I thought it is certainly well worth the trade-off. And on a night where Anthony Davis wasn't giving them, the points, you saw that, you had dudes up and down the roster who were in there. You got 12 from Vanderbilt. You're probably not going to get that all the time, but Beasley's generally going to give you more than 4. You got your 8 from Reeves. You got your 16 in this case from Hachimura. It's like every player that you put on the floor is a credible NBA rotation player. Some more than others, some I like more than others, but like Lonnie Walker played 15 minutes in this game. He's a credible rotation player in the league. There isn't anybody that you look at and say, the way Kendrick Nunn was playing earlier in the year, where JTA just wasn't giving them much of anything. Damian Jones was not somebody who ever played. The depth here is going to make a difference. One thing we should note, LeBron, again, did not play on Saturday, is not expected to play on Monday. If he's not back in the lineup for Wednesday's game, I mean, obviously you then really lean into the All-Star break, but it's going to make me a little nervous. Well, how about you? I got to be honest. I mentioned it like earlier in the week, like, he was rubbing that foot in the record-setting game awfully hard. Well, didn't like that.
This is always going to be a thing with LeBron for however many seasons he plays with the Lakers between now and the end of his career. At his age, with this type of mileage, the way LeBron has played this year, it makes I think sometimes people forget he's not supposed to be doing this. He's supposed to have to take games off. Yes. And it just makes it that much more important that Anthony Davis is available and plays well, and enough of the other guys show up like they did tonight. And in the meantime, man, closing note from me, it was just fun to watch this group.
Quick peek at the standings. The Lakers do gain a game, obviously, on Golden State. It's one of those 2-game swing kind of things. They're now 2 games behind the Warriors for the number 9. Portland is directly in front of them, tied with Utah. Utah lost on Saturday, so the Lakers gain a game there. The final 2 games before the break, Portland and New Orleans, those are 2 teams obviously directly in front of the Lakers. Big opportunities to keep themselves close and catch teams that they are chasing. The Lakers are 3 games behind the Pelicans, who currently are in the 7th spot. So lots to cover on Monday's show. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go see the whole thing. But before we let everybody just go on and get about their Sundays.
We're going to let them know that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by LinkedIn. As a small business owner or hiring manager, success in 2023 all depends on your team members, and that's why you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. With LinkedIn Jobs, you can find qualified candidates more efficiently by using their targeting tools to match open roles with people who have the skills, values, and experiences to help you achieve your goals. LinkedIn goes beyond resume data by using insights from your job post, your company, and their 875 million member profiles to land the most qualified candidates. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easy to screen and rate applicants all in one platform. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. It's what allows you to set a great tone for your 2023 fiscal success. It begins right now. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by FanDuel, the halfway point of the NBA season. Basically here, we like to call it the All-Star break, kind of that halfway point, even though mathematically it's not. But that's still the perfect time, Andy, to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000. It's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, and it's easy to use. You can bet on everything from the money line to the point scores to the threes that are drained, and that means you can actually start betting on the Lakers again because they got guys who can do that now. And so FanDuel lets you combine your bets for a bigger chance at a payout with same-game parlays. Don't miss the chance to get your first no-sweat bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook betting partner of the NBA. We'll see everyone Monday.